Hello and welcome to Third Eye Africa TV. My name is Ben Adam Shaman. Of course, we want to discuss current affairs, trending issues. As we're talking of democracy, we're talking about the movement towards 2023 elections. 2027 elections, sorry. I'm dragging every Nigerian backwards, which is not supposed to be. My name is Ben Adam Shaman. And of course, we have a guest that you always know. Very, very constant in the media world. Radio, TV, he's always there. And of course, he's worked so much with the Bauchi state government, private organization, a broadcaster of note. I want to welcome Dr. Ladan Salihu, commentator, political analyst, everything, a sociologist. Look, you're all in all in the media world. So you're welcome to Third Eye Africa TV.
Always great to have you around me, Mr. Ben Adams Shaman, PhD, a consummate broadcaster and a media specialist. I cherish any conversation with you any day.
Thank you very much for the compliments. Even though the University of Abuja, I've finished my defense, I've finished everything, and my external examiner said, "You have done it, congratulations." I said, well, we're waiting to wear the regalia. Thank you very much all the same.
You're welcome.
Now, let's look at Nigeria. Current issues, trending. Bishops' Conference of Nigeria. They felt they should see the president. Tell him some home truths.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say, oh, you spoke before the cameras and thereafter went into private talks. Then Cardinal John Anaekon went on air and said, look, tell it all. What happened there? And he did. Was there anything new the Cardinal said that others have not said? To the extent that spokesmen of the president are saying the Cardinal should apologize. Daniel Buala is even saying, look, the Cardinal, he only spoke for the Catholics. And that further angered Nigerians. I mean, what's your comment? How do you observe all of this? What are your comments?
Well, thank you so very much, Ben, for inviting me. Let me say without any fear of contradiction that I have had and still do have a very deep personal relationship with prominent Christian Nigerians. Some of my finest friends, including you, my brother, are Christians. And we've had a reason to work together for, glory be to God. We're entering 4 decades of professional camaraderie, where you always have my back and I have a reason to also have your back. I want to start with a bit of history. In the times of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, right through the time of General Sani Abacha, the Christian community, the Christian leadership, whether it is Catholic or Anglican or other prominent churches, Baptists, whatever, they have had a tradition of speaking truth to power. And when they do that without any fear or favor, malice or ill will. They do it with the conviction and belief that in telling the truth to whoever is in charge, he will sober up, reflect, and look at the entire situation and press the adjustment button, press the reset button, and press the button of reflection on whatever it is the Christian leadership, would tell them. I remember Archbishop or Bishop Anthony Olubunmi Okoje had a reason to look at Abacha in the face, had a reason to look at IBB in the face before the cameras, sometimes with even a press statement without even seeing them. And he will tell them the truth, and he did, my brother, about the state of the economy, about the state of our own international and diplomatic relations, where we had setbacks and what needed to be done, about the plight of the common man, the worker, and general socio-economic trends in the country. What those leaders did was to always, take whatever Bishop Antonio Olubunmi Okoje told them with, however bitter, they still go back to their own boardrooms, make an analysis of the situation, do corrections where necessary, and the timeline will pass, and those leaders became the beneficiary of those admonishments. And that is the duty of religious leaders. They are apolitical. And I have had a reason to also see, let Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi speak to power in the most daring tones and times. And he wasn't humiliated. People will complain, but he will hold his ground. Now, there was no reason for Cardinal Onayekon to speak to the president on camera. No. This is Nigeria project. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president, commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, whose responsibility under the law, having been elected by the public, by the voter, by the farmer, by the peasant, by the trader, by the teacher, by the electrician, by everyday people. He is accountable to the people. He is responsible to the public. There cannot be and should never be something of the weight and mission that the cardinals and the bishops went to see the president that should be discussed in camera. No, because in their own sermons, if you like, in their own admonitions and their own presentation and exhortations, not only the president, but you and me and ordinary Nigerians who are onlookers, who will watch on the TV, will pick a word or two of inspiration, and other politicians that are aspiring to higher offices in the land. So it is beyond the chambers of the State House, my brother.
Yeah.
And for him to speak in the manner he did, you know the way, the Catholic leadership operates. You know the way Cocking operates. You know the way, the Baptist and the Catholic or the Anglican, you know the way they operate. They don't speak. Cardinal Onayekon was not speaking his own voice. No. He was a representative of the collective voices of the leadership of that church. A lot of Nigerians don't seem to understand, and I'm shocked and embarrassed. In fact, I'm scandalized that the spokespersons of Mr. President did not even read this. To have come out to want to rebuke the cardinal is not only they set out to diminish or demean Christendom, which is totally unacceptable.
One even went to the extent of saying that John Cardinal Onaiyekan should apologize.
No, that is ridiculous. That is hysterical nonsense. John Cardinal Onaiyekan, I'm sure you know this. He was the best in his class. He was a grade A student. He smashed all the records to the extent that, I want to believe Sardauna drove all the way from Kaduna to his hometown to congratulate him or to participate even in his graduation. So who is Daniel Bwala? Daniel Bwala that has become the epitome of media scandal and media disrepute. He only needs to go and watch his interview with Al Jazeera and other pronouncements that he has made in the past. And that's one of the problems some of us have with this government. You cannot bring people like Daniel Bwala, whose credentials and trademark and antecedents, betrayal, scandalous statements, half-truths, and nothing to communicate but blindfolded followership, or a kind of blindfolded ambition to follow a leader because of the perquisites of office, and nothing more. So each time I have made up my mind, each time the likes of Daniel Bwala speak, I watch it in the manner I do Tales by Moonlight. I just watch the episode run past by, because there is nothing inspirational, there is nothing truthful, there is nothing that you'll take away that will make you believe him. And for the age of our brother, Bayo Onanuga should, I hope, look at his own records, look at his own standing, and the respect, the accolades he has received over the years in the media, and his track record. There are things that Mr. Onanuga knows, that he should either speak the truth or he keeps quiet. But to even go to the extent of asking him to apologize, I think they should apologize to Nigerians for that callous statement.
And now they are leaving George Akume, the SGF, to clean the urgent table.
Yes.
To become the original public relations officer.
Because they've messed, they spit, they've had a spat on the microphone. They have messed up, all the commentaries. And so you needed somebody to do damage control, damage, if you like, not only damage control, but damage
reputation
management, and so on. And that is the way they are. And one would have expected that the president, should sanction them for this kind of comment. And the Catholic are even, the church, the cardinals were even matured and dignified in their comments. I don't want to believe if they met the leadership of Kokin, the narrative would be as smooth as it is today, because
fire and
brimstone. And let us remind Nigerians, let me remind those in charge of our own leadership, from Mr. President to his ministers to members of the National Assembly. Please give Nigeria a break. Give Nigerians who elected you into power the respect and the dignity they earn, they deserve. Give them some measure of not only listening ear, but an ear and eye of compunction that speaks to their worries, their concerns, the issues of poverty in the land, the issues of insecurity and the internecine conflict that is literally driving the nation into a state of pockets of civil, if you like, quote-unquote hard word, war in the North Central, in the Northwest, and in the Northeast. We've not still had anywhere near complete victory on the war of insecurity. We have not had any breathing space because of the hardship people face over the economy. We've not been able to overcome the issue of not only out of school children, but the inability of parents to even pay for those that are in school, my brother Ben. So I think the political leadership should sober up and begin to address the issues that are germane to the survival of the average Nigerian, than to push aside those issues and begin to depend, or if you like, waste time on rhetorics about things that do not add up.
No. Now, let us have a flashback. You and I were in the State House, the Abacha days.
Absolutely.
Recall there was the perestroika, glasnost in Russia, some openness, political openness, some freedom of expressions.
Absolutely.
And now, Nigeria then under Abacha, you could see the media was buzzed, political prisoners here and there. The same Catholic Church brought the Pope
Absolutely.
to Nigeria. And the Pope came, met Abacha, told him to his face, this is a list of political prisoners. Set them free.
I remember.
Where were these people?
Well,
so for you to now wake up and challenge that history, are we saying that they spoke just for the Catholic Church that time, or they spoke for humanity?
Oh yes, you see, when religious leaders speak, from their mouths, they speak from the point of view of their denominations, but from the wisdom of their thoughts, they speak to the generality of Nigerians. They speak about their plights. They speak about their tribulations. They speak about their own innermost negative thoughts and feelings of poverty and deprivation. And so for anybody to even reduce it just to their own denomination, I think is not, they don't even seem to understand the entire narrative. Remember, during that time, Ben, General Abacha tasked the former FCT minister, Jerry Oseni, to make sure that, a space was cleared to honor the Pope. And it's still standing.
They call it the Papa Ground.
Papa Ground.
Along Kuba
Road. And I thought any word coming from the leadership of that church, what the government and its mindeds should do is just to collect the script and go into the boardroom or into the chambers and, decode, dissect, analyze the information going forward, and probably send an emissary quietly to say, God, Lord Bishop, we've heard you and we appreciate you. We've made a lot of mistakes. Please, next time, sir, when you come, we will appreciate that you lower the strike force. We'll have an inner conversation before we can come to the public. If they don't ask for it, the cardinals, the bishops will not tell the government. But I can assure you, and I'm not a spokesman for, Lord Bishop Cardinal Anaiko. I've met him, I think, about just twice in my life. But I know from his own pedigree and from the way he interacts, he has a listening ear. And he's somebody who can bend backward, not necessarily compromise. But you say, okay, look, Mr. President, you've asked that we meet in private before we come to the cameras. Okay, we will meet in private. He would download the information. But the law, the cardinal will not ask for that safe, if you like, audience if the State House didn't. And that's, you and I have seen, Linda Choka came in to see Abacha and several other diplomats. They will stay behind closed doors and have their conversation, and then they will come out and address us. Yeah. You are my deputy when I was the chairman of the State House Press Corps.
I was your vice.
This is the way. And anytime when we speak to the media and we say part of the problem of this government is not only because they are deficient in quality leadership. No, they are deficient in people who are ordinarily supposed to be their spokespersons. They are too emotional about defending the person and persona of the president, much less concerned about defending their policies. And that is bad.
Yes. And for the Catholic Church that I know, this catechism, there is also that provision where they say, see, judge, and act. Now, if they saw something in Nigeria, okay, they've judged, then what is the action? They acted by going to tell the president. If they never did, the Catholic I know, they'll have to go for some confession. They failed the Nigerian state. They failed the people.
Absolutely. They will go, like you said, and, behind the curtain and say, Lord, forgive me, for I have sinned, I have not acted, and I have not spoken.
When it matters most.
When it matters most. You get it? And that will be a kind of innermost spiritual self-defeat. That cannot be found in the religious leadership, certainly not in the Catholic world. And it is about the same literature in Islam. When you see something wrong that is leading any leadership towards cataclysm, you are asked to go and speak about it. You can speak about it in public. You can call the leader to order. In this case, it's very difficult to reach Tinubu one-on-one because his own courtiers and palace soldiers, quote unquote, have formed a ring around him of isolation. And so it is difficult for, whenever any, religious leader, Islamic religious leader would want to reach to him, they will always be panicking. And so the idea of even meeting him, is probably just 10% on the threshold. And so he will be left with nothing but just to say it out and loud.
Yeah.
So you can see that's a correlation somehow. It's all about speaking truth to power.
Sure.
And speaking truth to power, not in a manner that you denigrate, abuse, or bring that leadership to disrepute. No. You speak truth to power in a manner that those in leadership will appreciate the content and will analyze the context and will go ahead to say, oh, yesterday we've had 2 or 3 courtesy calls. We have some members of the diplomatic corps, we have some members from the economic sector, and we have this meeting which was stormy with Cardinal Onayekon and his group. What are the takeaway points? Where are we going wrong or right? That is all. And once you are able to pick the core talking points, what to do, what to throw away, what to leave for another day, then you face your job. But your job, for now, I want to advise that I think the president should sanction both Mr. Bayo Onanuga and Daniel Bwala, and they should withdraw their statements asking for the Cardinal Onaekon to apologize. Apologize for what, Mr. Ben? Apologize for the a kind of horrifying poverty that Nigerians are going through, which they spoke about, or apologize for the state of insecurity where Nigerians get killed by the day. There's just no day a Nigerian does not lose his life to insecurity. There's just no day will go past that a Nigerian will not be kidnapped. In fact, the Western media, they have literally stopped reporting deaths about Nigerian situation because 5 people will be kidnapped, so what? 10 people will be kidnapped, so what? 20 people will be killed. Oh, it's a normal day. It happens in Zamfara every week. 10 people will be killed in Katsina and Kebbi. Oh, 5 people will be killed in Borno State.
You see that in all these killings, the spokesmen have even rather stopped issuing statements.
People will be ambushed on several fronts on the plateau in Kogi. You will not see it in the international media because they are tired. They almost want to believe that Nigeria is a country where people are insensitive and the leadership is unconcerned.
Yes.
And therefore, they just fold their arms and watch us die, however we want to die.
Yes. Now, you see, Nigerians, there's always this quick assumption. Oh, it's because the president didn't give the bishops money. And look, when you're talking about an institution like the Catholic Church, now let me tell you just very little story. There's always this Christmas carol by FRCN, NTA, and
of course, at the International Conference Center.
Exactly. At National Christian Center.
Yes.
Now, you see, there was a year I was the chairman of the organizing committee. As usual, the organizers will say, oh, let's give the person who will give a message for that year some money. Even choir groups invited different states of the country.
Absolutely.
We give them. So I was given money to go give an icon. I'm saying it here and now.
Yes.
When I went to meet him that Sunday before the event, of course, no protocol. I just entered.
As the chairman of the organizing
exactly.
committee. Yes.
So we spoke. Said, oh, what is this? I said, sir, some little things. Said, like what? What is there? I said, it's money. Said, what is it for? Said, sir, it's just for you.
For your logistics and movement and whatever.
From my house here, Area 3, to National Clinical Center, what's the distance? I don't need the money. Or you want to bribe me
because
for me to preach? What is my job? You want to pay me? No, I don't need it. I started begging this man. He said, okay, you are insisting? He just collected. He said, come, who is there? He started shouting at
his people.
Then there was a cook outside, there was a security man, there was a messenger. He said, come, how many are you there? They take this and enjoy yourselves. I am saying it authority. It happened to me.
No, you are reporting it because you are a reporter. you are a news person.
Yes.
And it is so unfortunate that our own esteemed political leaders, they don't seem to understand the making of our religious leaders. They believe that the way they bulldoze into the living rooms of politicians and the palaces of traditional or other sectoral leaders and give them money and get things done. They can also do that to every a sector. And I think probably they must have gotten a rude wake-up call. Probably if they had tried it, and maybe they did, you get it.
Yeah.
And the same reception you got, probably that's the same reception the minders of the government got. And so they are sulking and they're feeling very bad that they've not been able to get what they wanted from, the visit. But Nigerians got what they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yes. Then a very short one again, before we go on a small break. There was this story of a governor going to see his friend, a reverend father, here in this Abuja. So when he went to the Ascot and saw the house the reverend father was living, the governor said, no, you don't have to live in this kind of... He decided to send money. They went, did a nice house for the reverend father. As soon as they finished, Bishop Onaekos posted the reverend father out. Said they want to corrupt you. So this is the kind of person...
Absolutely.
So you don't... See, the Catholic, you don't train priests to be gluttons. They don't have houses.
No,
I know that stuff.
They don't. That reminds me of a story, Ben, which I want to share with the public. And President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida is alive. When he saw the way and manner Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi was struggling to go from one mosque to one state, to one city, to one location, his car will break down, will wait and get a vulcanizer. They get to the next destination. Oh, he has not been able to move to the next preaching ground because he had a breakdown. So he sent 2 brand new vehicles to Kaduna. One for Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi and the other one for Sheikh Lawal Abubakar. All of them, may Allah forgive them. And so when the messenger came, they were in the living room of Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi, and they were ushered in, the protocol guy and the drivers of the 2 cars. They said, we've been sent by the President Commander-in-Chief. He said, oh, you are welcome. He gave them water and said, okay, what's the message? He said, well, these are keys of 2 brand new vehicles, one for you and one for Sheikh Lawal Abubakar. Let's go outside so that Malam will see. So they went outside. Sheikh Gumi saw the 2 cars and said, fantastic, Mr. President has tried. He called his secretary. He said, secretary, said, yes, please take these cars to Jamaatul Nasrul Islam and write the inscription of Jamaatul Nasrul Islam and put them for the use of the headquarters. Sheikh Lawal Abubakar, our father, said, wait, Sheikh. He said, there are 2 cars. Protocol officer, what is it exactly? What was the message? He said, one for Malam Abubakar Gumi and the other one for Malam Lawal Abubakar. He said, Malam does not have a need. Let him take his own to the headquarters of JNI. And it was taken there. And Lawal Abubakar didn't have a car. God bless him. He didn't have a car. So he said he needed the car because it came at the time, he wanted it most. But what mattered was neither of the 2 ever shied away from telling government the truth. And I think the present government and even succeeding governments must come to the inescapable conclusion that our own spiritual fathers have more than a stake in the leadership of this country, and they have even greater stake before God. The ordinary Nigerian who is not learned, who is not learned in a spiritual way, who is not has not gone to the seminary, has not graduated, through any Catholic or church institutions, who has not been trained as an malam or as an imam, just everyday people, they may be forgiven for some infractions by God because of their deficiencies. But for those who are learned, who are schooled, who are knowledgeable, they have a greater responsibility before man and before their God to tell truth to power. And I think leaders should begin to understand and appreciate their own preeminent position, because they will not, while God, and I'm not saying I am entirely right in this, because nobody will dare speak for God, but in the merciful way God operates, in his own kingdom of mercy and kindness, he may be kinder to the unknowledgeable. You get it? He may be kinder to the plebeian, for he has no knowledge, but he won't step an inch in punishing the learned. In this case, Lord Cardinal Onaikon and his group, if they fail in their duty to tell truth to power. That is the way they are, and it should be appreciated.
Yes. And that reminds me of a famous quote. Stickers in the State House then during Abacha days. There was one shared for everybody. I even got one. I don't know whether you got one. They said, lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Absolutely. I remember that sticker. I had it, and I think somebody made a duplicate copy of it and was putting on people's cars. And one literally got me into trouble somewhere. They say, who are you to talk to me? He said, what have I said? Look at your sticker. Who are you? Anyway, that is Nigeria for you.
At this point, we just go on a short break, and when we do come back, we still look at an issue. Is the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, becoming very responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians? Osun elections are coming on board. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the anti-graft agency, one of them in Nigeria, went and got the accounts of that government frozen. The president says, no, the time is even not auspicious. Why doing this? An attempt for government agencies to blackmail government. We'll unbundle that with Dr. Ladan Salihu. We're coming back.
This is Third Eye Africa TV, exposing crime, savaging the nation.
Welcome back. And we just went on a short break, even though you didn't take any water, but we are here again. Now, the elections in Osun State, we're seeing that the president at the point has ordered the anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that got the accounts of the government frozen. Government cannot do anything, so to speak. Now the president says, no, you are overstepping your bounds. Is the president sensitive to Nigerian yearnings now?
No, it's all an issue of internal political damage control. I think the whole issue to me, Ben, was a strategy gone wrong and a kind of tactics that has backfired. The Osun election, if I am allowed to make a prediction, Governor Adeleke is on pole position. I am of the ADC extraction. But, the kind of followership he has is such that if there is anybody that can match him and probably even win, certainly not the APC, but the African Democratic Congress. And when you look at the optics, the campaigns, and the way the issues are swinging, this whole issue must have been the EFCC couldn't have acted alone to dare to shut down the account of any state government, and it would be it remains a very bad precedent, because you can expect the EFCC to jump into any state at a critical period where perhaps salaries will be paid next week, and once you close their account or you shut down their accounts, it means you are putting the people of that state in peril. And I think somebody should define the role of the EFCC in executing its own objectives and policies and policy directions and thrusts vis-a-vis happenings within the state. You know, if that can happen, then it's going to set a very bad precedent for the country. On Osun election specifically, any political analyst will tell you that it was done to ambush, to cage the leadership of the state from accessing resources to fulfill other obligations that will ordinarily give them an edge in the elections, not necessarily to utilize the money to buy voters. Adeleke is a multi-billionaire anyway. And the young population in Osun State are all behind who? Adeleke, because of what? Davido and what have you. And so any attempt to even assume this kind of move will backfire, and it is backfiring on the government. But the bigger picture, Ben, which I want to share with Nigerians, is that the institutions of the state, the EFCC, the ICPC, you know, dealing with economic and financial crimes and issues and matters of corruption and, misappropriation of funds and what have you, that the president with a phone call can give a directive for them and stop them in their tracks, meant that these institutions are not reporting to the Nigerian state. They are reporting and listening only to the president. And they are clearly tools in the hands of the president. These are institutions of the state created by law that can even investigate the presidency, not necessarily the president because he has immunity. And so the president has no right to stop a government institution from undertaking its own responsibility. So it is opening a window for all of us to see that the president must have known these issues were going to happen in the first place. But for him to stop the EFCC on their tracks, tells you that the EFCC head reports to and can listen only to the president. The ICPC, the same.
Because it's the appointing authority.
Yeah. And so I expect that the president will, for instance, tomorrow, pick up his phone and call the ICPC head and tell him to release El-Rufai. In the same manner, he asked the EFCC to, lift the cap on the accounts of Osun State. And it is point blank clear. Whatever it is, whatever conditionalities that the government has given on the continued incarceration of El-Rufai were clearly orchestrated. And the bottlenecks and the obstacle courses that have been put to deny him bail were clearly something that was choreographed practiced and rehearsed and fact checked, so that it would be an almost impossibility to get it done. So I am appealing to Mr. President to use the same manner, the same strategy, the same directive that he has given to the EFCC, to the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC, to also release El-Rufai and continue on bail and continue the trial in the courts. Nobody is absolving anybody of any crime. If El-Rufai is found guilty of committing crimes against the state, like every other Nigerian should be, he should be made to face, the law. But where he is not declared by, the lawful court of any, where he is not found guilty, rather, of any crime, I think it is the responsibility of Mr. President at this stage to do to El-Rufai what he did to Osun State. Period.
Yes. However, some people, like you said, if found guilty,
yes,
some Nigerians believe, okay, here you are under detention, then you brought some papers, some sick papers, and they say National Hospital, they said they've gone around, he's not a patient there. The papers given are also fake, a kind of. That's also some alleged criminality. Outside that, when you say, oh, I tap the NSA's office in all conversations, these are things, confessions or statements voluntarily given by El-Rufai. And so some people feel, oh, this is high tension, treason. Why will you tap NSA, National Security Advisor, all conversations you said you have and all that stuff? And so some people feel the agencies should also come out and tell exactly what they discovered. So what do you think about this?
You see, to me, let me take it on two fronts, Ben. On the level of personalities and at the level of institutions. I know for sure that the chairman of the EFCC and El-Rufai, they were best of friends.
Wow.
And they've shared moments. And so, to me, there are statements that I will make to you, Ben. For instance, I can say, Ben, I was in your kingdom. I contested to become a chief in Morua Kingdom. So what can you tell me, because you are a prince in that kingdom? And it is not true. It cannot happen. I know it is not true. But I may be saying that to put you in a position of suspense. And in politics, people take advantage of every statement. You and I know that the security cordon, the security sweeping mechanism in the office of the NSA, the security cordon around the NSA is such that it cannot be penetrated by any single simple individual. It is not true. And so one would have expected that if this were to happen in the State Department, you get it. Some young man will just come and give a statement and say, ignore these guys, because, they know that nobody can ain't no one who can come and step on the security cordon around the White House or in the State Department. No. And the matter ends there. So, to me, the two gentlemen have had their own disagreements. Incidentally, I want to tell you, Ben, that one of the most underestimated persons that has been helpful to the Tinubu administration that is not so much appreciated or even liked is Nuhu Ribadu. I can tell you he is the only arrowhead in the government that the North respects, apart from Shetima. And so, I think prominent political leaders, opinion leaders, and leaders of thought, and should come together and speak to the two, to sheath their sword. Both Ribadu and El-Rufai, they mean well for Nigeria. They have Nigeria in their heartbeat. Their disagreements should be personal and can be resolved at the level of personalities.
Alternative dispute
resolution mechanism. Now, at the level of institutions, my brother, we should show the world that we have a security network that cannot be penetrated by any individual. To begin to discuss this issue in the law courts, to put somebody on trial because he made a pronouncement, makes those institutions, they lower their esteem. The esteem of quality, the esteem of professionalism, and the esteem of no-nonsense security, attitudes to our lives. There's just no way an individual, you know that. There are times we will get into the State House, the chambers of the State House. Whether you go with your telephone or not, the telephones will not work. And before meetings are held, the DSS, the DMI, and other security services will come and clean sweep the entire environment. So there's not a single individual, in my view, from what I know and you know, that can, tap the phones of a high-profile government official like the National Security Advisor. Should that happen, then it means the institution has to take a look at its own backbone and reset it. I want to believe that at the end of the day, not the law courts will settle this matter, but I think the superior knowledge and wisdom and interaction and understanding and rapprochement will play out. But it is not in the interest of the government to continue to utilize the instrumentality of the law and the draconian, ingredients that are brought into the bail issues to continue to keep El-Rufai in detention. And it is also important that the security institutions understand and appreciate that tantrums will be thrown at them, and it is not everything that they see they should react. The security chiefs, Ben, they know that this thing is not true. It cannot happen. But if they want to make a statement by teaching El-Rufai a lesson, I think the lessons must have been learned. So I think it is time for the nation to move on, release El-Rufai, and ensure that, sanity, equanimity, and the spirit of live and let live prevail.
Yeah, I was speaking with a certain Yoruba prominent. And I said, it's because El-Rufai was talking too much at the point. Said he had finished all godfathers in Kaduna State. And he was speaking in, they said, Yoruba Tennis Club. They said, there is one godfather parading and installing everybody. in Lagos and southwestern state of you people have not dealt with that one. He would not call Tinubu, but some people assumed he was talking about him.
The voice of Esau. Absolutely. You know, Ben, in politics, that is why sometimes, when I got into politics, I've learned a lot. First of all, not to make politics a full-time vocation. I see myself and I, more of the broadcaster that I am than a politician, than a co-politician.
Just like Segun Oshoba would say,
yes.
Anywhere you meet him, you say, I'm a journalist, I'm a reporter.
Yes, and because, in politics, sometimes people operate in a manner that, presupposes catch as your catch can chance. You and I can't play this in the media. In the noble profession of the media, people rely on you, Ben, and rely on us as reporters then and hopefully now to give them quality information, to enrich them with knowledge and, enhance their credibility and worth in understanding current affairs. And I found, a very beautiful space to operate in that realm. In politics, you try that. A lot of people will not work with you because they don't like, most politicians would rather like somebody who will speak half truth, who may not even speak the truth at all. But there are few leaders in politics that will call you aside and tell you, go and say it as it is. One of them was Abacha. The other person was IBB. I remember there were times when General Olusegun Obasanjo had the cause to issue public criticism of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida when he said the government has no face of
no human face.
Has no human face, has no milk of human kindness. And Yusuf Bama, went out. The press secretary then to ICOMO went out and gave an equal measure of statement that a lot of Nigerians were shocked. And some of us felt that Yusuf Bama was not even asked to make that comment, that the next day he will be sacked for daring to criticize Olusegun Obasanjo, when it was a matter between two elephants, and who was Yusuf Bama to make that statement. But it was a statement that was endorsed by the president for Yusuf Bama to make a reply. Now, this is the way politics should be. Sometimes the bitter truth in the palace of power spoken to Nigerians, they are the tonic. It's the tonic the Nigerians would need to inspire them to believe that the government can stand for them. The government can stand for the truth. In the same way, the government should be prepared to also listen to when truth is spoken to them.
Now, we're getting very close to the end of this interview, but not without this one. Still talking elections. Some people insist there is too much military involvement in elections. Deployments. Soldiers are deployed. The Navy, the Air Force, all are deployed. Their primary aim, defeated. Leave that to the lead agency, the police. Now suddenly EFCC will come with their red attire in front, behind. You see EFCC at the election venues. So they are scouting, they are looking for those giving bribes.
Ben, those of us in the ADC, we look at the recent directive of Mr. President, first of all, to create new divisions in the army, to raise the salary of the armed forces by, in some cases, 80%, and in other cases, 35 or whatever percent. I can't remember.
Yes.
And when you put them vis-a-vis the issues of deployment of military personnel during elections, you ask yourself and you ask the government a question, not a rhetorical question, but a practical question. Why now? 7 months to elections, or even less. Why? And the answers from the point of view of the African Democratic Congress, where I am a member, the way I see it is that they are laying a ground to recruit these agencies on election day to do their bidding. If you want to raise the allowances or salaries of, armed forces personnel, there's nothing wrong with it, but you should have done it the very day you removed oil subsidy. And tell Nigerians that I'm using the oil subsidy to raise, the salary profile of our security services.
Don't you think that they needed some stability? If you remove subsidy, suddenly you do some...
Because you expect that there will be money when you remove subsidy. The same way he was, some of the minders of the government said it was unprepared, but he needed to say it. The same emergency should have been brought, into that regard with the respect of the increment of salaries of the armed forces. And it is against our own, the Electoral Act, I want to believe, and civil law, or some certain legal enactments. Soldiers are not supposed to be at the polling or collection centers in whatever form. It is the responsibility of the Nigerian police and the civil defense. EFCC has a greater responsibility to chase corrupt leaders and, public servants who have stolen and in some cases are on trial for hundreds of billions, if not trillions, if you aggregate the monies across the country. What business do they have on election day with EFCC, DSS, and everybody around polling stations? And over the years, when these things happen, they happen with an instruction to stop candidates from winning. I have seen it played out. Look, I participated in an election where when Ali Wakili of blessed memory passed on, I was a senatorial candidate. And point blank in Bauchi, in one of the polling units near my own, there was DSS, there was the army, there was the police, and the reason was simple. Buhari went to Bauchi and raised the hands of my opponent, and so everybody found it a duty to make sure that they help the system to rig us out so that the president flew in. One day, he dropped into Bauchi and raised the hands of, Senator Gumau of blessed memory. He took off from Bauchi, landed in Katsina, went to Daura and raised the hands of the senatorial candidate there. The results in Daura, in Katsina, they were pronounced around 11:30. It took 3 days to pronounce my results in Bauchi. Do you know why? They were cancelling votes from one local government to the other until they cancelled 83,000 votes of mine to declare somebody the senatorial candidate. These are things that are with the Independent National Electoral Commission. I have the records. They have the records. They would say, oh, in Kirfi local government, there was violence. In Tafawa Balewa, there was violence. In this place, there was overvoting. No such thing happened. And it was done in collusion with security agencies. So when they asked me to go to court, I said I wasn't going to court because it will be an exercise in futility. Here I am standing. And so, Ben, I want to say it once and again, please. Every institution that is remotely unconnected with any presence during the election on election day, the army, the DSS, and the and EFCC, they should restrict themselves to their own calling and serve Nigerians in their various capacities. Make Nigeria a lot more corrupt-free, make Nigeria a lot more secured, and make Nigeria a lot more safe, not only on election day.
At this point, a chieftain of the ADC, Dr. Ladan Salihu, commentator, journalist par excellence, I want to thank you for coming to Third Eye Africa TV.
I appreciate this privilege and appreciate you and the Third Eye Africa TV with all our own shortcomings as mortals. You have space to accommodate us. And I hope Nigerians that are watching, that will be watching this program will also overlook some of these shortcomings. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Brother.
I'm proudly Nigerian.
Any day, you're welcome, my
All
brother.
the time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.